In this hypersexualized world that endorses and pushes you towards hookup culture, it's kind of hard to sit here as a 25-year-old guy and push the idea that chasing sex won't make you happier at all. Especially because I'm a bit of a hypocrite, I'm not gonna lie. But this is also a reminder for me as well. Last year I started using dating apps, and even though I've always been against them, honestly I'm even more against them now. But my reasoning was to sharpen my blades. I didn't want to become awkward and not be able to hold a conversation or hold eye contact, because before this I was a long-term relationship type of guy. And most people are only looking for two things on dating apps, that's sex or attention. And then there's a small minority out there looking for love. But it only took me 2 to 3 months to realize after being in hookup culture that this shit is psychopathic. To have casual sex with no regard and to know you're most likely gonna ghost the person and eventually not talk to each other and have this mutual unspoken understanding is literally psychopathic behavior. And this goes for girls as well, because a lot of people have this misconception that guys are the ones hooking up and ghosting afterwards. I've been with a handful of girls that have rosters, and this was new to me. A girl literally told me she has 3 dudes she calls to pull up whenever she's feeling sad. Actually, I'll just tell you guys the story. And this was what really made me realize that this hookup shit was insane. So I was talking to this girl for 2 to 3 days, got her number from Hinge, and normally I like to move fast because some girls are bored and they'll waste your time. I call her immediately, 20 minutes after getting to know her. You know, just 20 minutes of getting to know her, making fun of her and flirting, and then I ask her on a date. Normally you can tell what kind of timing she's on based on the vibes and how receptive she is to sexual jokes. That's why I always throw those in there, just to test the waters. So we go on a date. I pick her up at 6 p.m. because I never go on dates during the day. It's a lot easier to have motion at night because of the vibes. Like, nothing happens during the day. It's like, why would I be out here getting coffee at 2 p.m.? So I pick her up at the door, give her a hug, break the physical barrier, open the car door, and I'll usually make a joke that's like, that's plus 10 points or a green flag for being a gentleman, and then they'll chuckle and laugh or whatever. Because girls notice all the little things, and they'll shit test you a lot too. So I drive her to the dinner spot, we eat, we talk, and again, throughout the dinner, I'm making sexual jokes here and there, and she's actually going way harder, like she's way more receptive to the jokes in person. And in my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, she's definitely on temperature. If you can get a girl to go on a date with you, there's already some level of attraction and interest. The physical attraction is already there, but all that's left is basically for her to see that you're cool and basically not a weirdo. If you can go above that, then you're good. So we finished eating like an hour and a half at some Korean spot. After eating dinner, how I usually like to escalate, again, my mentality was to try to hook up. I hold her hand and walk her back to the car, and as I was walking her back to the car, she turned and looked at me and said, "Let's go to a park near my house." Now this one was new to me because I'm used to leading the dance, and obviously as a guy you pick her up, you decide the spot, you lead the conversation, where to go, all that. But in my head I'm like, oh, she really wants it because she's flirting, she's making sexual jokes, she wants me to take her to a park near her house. I don't have to do anything. But what I wasn't thinking about at this time was this was going a little bit too easy. Like, she was matching me every step of the way, and she's pretty much initiating sex at this point. Almost as if this was routine for her. And again, I'm not thinking about that right now. My analysis is compromised. I've been flirting, making sexual jokes, thinking about hooking up, so I'm with it. I drive to the park, she tells me where to park. It was this little corner area covered by a lot of trees, and I'm guessing that's her spot. So I park the car, and I usually play some like R&B explicit playlist to, you know, kind of warm up the mood. And literally 2 songs in, she goes, "Let's sit in the back." And I was like, okay, I guess my playlist is just that powerful. I think the song was like "I Like" by Jeremiah and Ludacris. There's some sauce for you guys. That song goes crazy if you're trying to, wait, what am I doing? Sorry guys. Anyways, we go to the back, we start making out, and one thing leads to another. I don't have to go into detail what happens here, you get the point. And after we were done, by the way, this is where the post-nut clarity normally kicks in. I thought to myself, that was almost way too easy. I barely knew her for 2 hours, didn't have to get in my bag at all. Keep in mind, before last year, I was a long-term relationship type of guy, so my experience to sex or getting sex was talking stage for about a month, you ask her out, go on a bunch of dates, spend time, and after 2 to 3 months, you finally have sex with your girlfriend for the first time, and it's special and it's memorable. I just got dinner and barely got to know her for 2 hours, and we drove to a park on her accord. So then I asked her, hey, out of curiosity, when was the last time you hooked up with someone? You could be honest, I'll tell you as well. The trick is to just be really casual about it with your tone and act like you sharing yours is a moral equivalence. And you wanna know what she told me? She said, to be honest, 2 days ago. I was like, what? Like, I'm trying not to act judgmental, by the way, but 2 days, I was expecting like 2 weeks at least. 2 days is crazy. And that was what she was willing to admit. And she was like, yeah, I was just feeling sad and I couldn't sleep, so I hit a guy up and he, and I quote, dicked me down. And I was like, did he just leave afterwards? Like, how long have you guys been talking? Like, you just asked him to come over? Like, you just got guys on speed dial for sex? And he just left afterwards? And she was like, yeah, I just said okay bye after we were done. And this was the crazy part in the world I didn't realize we had gotten to. Like, you always know hookup culture is a thing, everybody hooks up and guys ghost after all the time. It's starting to reverse because she told me, and I guess she could have been lying, but I'm usually pretty good at detecting lies and I don't think she was. She told me he wanted to stay and cuddle, but she was the one that made him leave. Now all this time I thought it was the reverse. Like, the guy gets post-nut clarity and he's like trying to find ways to get the girl to leave. The guy's normally like, oh, I gotta go somewhere, and then he like drives around the block. And then she showed me texts with these other guys that she's hooked up with that wanted to see her again. I'm talking like double, triple texts. Like, they wanted to hang out with her, and that she was the one that ghosted after having sex with them. And I'm sitting here thinking, this can't be real life. Like, I was mind blown. It was like finding out 11-9 backwards was an outside job for the first time. That one's gonna get me in trouble. But this is where we're at in the dating culture. Like, this is borderline psychopathic. Like, to just have frivolous sexual relations and just toss them to the side and keep it pushing to the next. Like, sex feels good in the moment. Like, no one is gonna deny that. But I was just disgusted. At myself too, by the way. Like, okay, there's hooking up, there's one night stands, but this was just kind of like, there's gotta be a line. And I think this was the line for me. Cause I just had sex with her and now I'm catching visuals of her with another guy's 2 nights ago. Like, it's nasty. And in my mind, well, the first thing I'm thinking is, oh hell, I just made out with her. Like, she was hooking up with another guy 2 nights ago and I just made out with her. Like, you do the math. And the craziest thing was she was so proud of sharing it too. Like, I'm hooking up with all these guys and they're simping for me. I don't want to hang out with them. I just want sex. Like, it was empowering to her. And I don't know, it's just kind of sad. And I'm like, this is crazy. And since then, I can give you guys a handful of stories. I've gotten so many, which is, I guess, is a good thing. Like, I love having stories to share and experiences to share. I dated another girl who was hooking up with her coworker, and her coworker actually caught feelings for her, but she just wanted sex with him. And she was also hooking up with another coworker on the side that she actually liked. And I'm just like, what is happening? And again, I am a hypocrite. That's not me trying to passively brag, because it's not a good thing. It's like, okay, you slept with the 304, good for you. But like, is this the dating scene? Like, where do we go from here? Like, do I gotta get on Christian Mingle? Cause even some Catholic and Christian girls on dating apps, sometimes they're the freakiest. And again, I'm not throwing stones. I didn't wait to marriage, so I got a lot of work to do on myself. But I don't know, I just didn't realize the dating scene was like this. And I just got on last year and I'm kinda done with it, to be honest. For the most part, if like a baddie comes in, like, what you guys want me to do? But guys and girls, whether you like it or not, have different experiences with sex. And at least I thought that it was more emotional for girls and physical for guys. But if we're getting to the point where even that is starting to flip on its head, like, I know everything is upside down, we live in a clown world, the Bible prophesies nearing the end of times that everything would be backwards. But if even how we experience sex is starting to reverse due to fake progressive ideologies, then send the asteroid. Like, send it straight through the core of Earth. Again, me included, I'm not excluded from this. Hit me with the asteroid first. Like, it's over, it's done, we're screwed. It's depressing when you really think about it, but we really should start pushing back against hookup culture. For sex to be devalued in this manner and normalizing it is crazy, on both guys and girls' parts. It's so difficult because the way intersexual dynamics is set up nowadays, it's not to your advantage as a guy to not have much experience with women, which is the glaring problem in all this. Because let's say you don't deal with girls and just focus on yourself and your career and your goals and being successful. I can say that's what I want now, to just focus on myself, because I've tasted the forbidden fruit. I've gotten a taste of that. I know what it's like. Again, it's nothing to be proud of. I'm not trying to like passively brag, but it's gotta be hard for, let's say, a guy that's a virgin to adopt that mentality, especially with temptation everywhere. When you're in your late 20s and 30s, you wanna start dating, and it's gonna be hard when you don't have experience, just because everyone else is getting ran through. But again, what I'm pushing back on is frivolous, pointless, casual sex and just hookup culture. Just people passing each other around. It's repulsive. And I don't know what type of progressive liberal mindset it is, but the idea that sleeping with a bunch of guys is somehow empowering is twilight levels of insanity. There's a reason why women give birth and men want to reproduce. But if we as guys value women with a low body count, which every single guy does, no guy wants a girl that's been with 100 guys, by proxy, we as guys should not be fucking everything in sight too, because we're the ones giving them the body count, or I guess a lesser percentage of guys are. I know you got podcasts like Fresh and Fit and they talk about 10% of guys having all the bodies, which there probably is some truth to that, but there is still regular guys, like guys in college, just sleeping with a bunch of girls. And the sad part of everything I'm saying is that it's only gonna get worse. And again, it's difficult nowadays because it's not like 2 to 3 decades ago before social media and having pornography everywhere and hot chicks on your Instagram and TikToks and dating apps. It's a difficult fight and it's only gonna get worse. and normal guys are gonna get swallowed up right in this fight. Pause. Major pause. Also, again, running around trying to hook up with a bunch of random 304s is nothing to be proud of. It's a lot of time, energy, effort for what? Dumb conversations? It's like, yeah, tell me more about your Sagittarius rising and how the moon and stars connect with your personality. Maybe it's because I'm in a really liberal city, but it's definitely a thing. And also, as guys, we want to have stories about to tell our boys to get that validation and be like, yeah, I did something. Like, yeah, I hooked up with her. Because I'm not gonna lie, that was fun. The post-game convo with the boys, it's pretty fun, and it still kind of is. You get that validation, and not just guys give you respect, but even girls subconsciously. Like, it does signal value to them. It's like, oh, this guy gets other girls, there must be something about him, because social proof is a thing when it comes to female attraction. That's why it's mainly women that obsess over celebrities. That's why the popular guy gets the most girls, the funniest guy in class, the jock, the quarterback, the star basketball player. When someone gets a lot of attention from girls, then that's where most their attention goes. The most famous celebrities with the most status are perfect examples of this. But it doesn't change. At the end of the day, it's all still meaningless. It's not a real conquest, because what did you really accomplish other than a nut? Every single guy, if they're being honest, will agree that having sex with someone you love and care about is far better than running through some random 304 that you don't really love or care about. And there's no such thing as a hoe phase. This is just cope from certain women, not all, that want to have their cake and eat it. They want to have their fun in their 20s, partying and getting ran through, having their phase, and then settle down with a nice, stable, 6-figure earning loyal guy in their 30s and get married after their hoe phase. They want to have their cake and eat it, and they want to have the best of both worlds. This is actually a really common philosophy shared by a lot of women nowadays. And to all the guys out there, because Red Pill is about truth, not dissing women. There's far more to life than running through a bunch of random 304s. It doesn't make us better men, and it doesn't make us better people. And again, I'm a hypocrite, this is to myself as well. But it can actually oftentimes do the exact opposite. You have less and less regard for people and feelings. Like, it's psychopathic, just to bring us full circle. And for a lot of guys, we adopt the mentality of wanting to hook up with a bunch of random chicks until we find a good girl to settle down with. Every guy, or not every guy, but I guess most guys actively in the dating market adopt this philosophy. But the reason why good girls are so hard to find is because of hookup culture. It's a two-pronged issue between men and women that's been inflated through social media and dating apps. Men and women are reflections on each other in society, especially in the dating market. And I know it's hard to fight against. You, as an average guy, just like most of us are, have seen growing up the college frat dude hooking up with every chick at the party, or the sorority girls, or the high school jock, the star athlete hook up with all the cheerleaders, maybe even your crush. And you're the guy in the friend zone, you were the gay best friend, and you were the guy standing at the corner of the party with a red cup trying to see what's left. And you want to taste that, and you want to see what it's like. But it's pointless, and we should all fight against just randomly hooking up with people that we don't care about and we know we'll never see again. And I know I'm a hypocrite, but I still believe in pushing the right message. And understand that this is a controversial take, even for a conservative or red pill side. But if we're promoting no-fap and not masturbating, why don't we do the same with not having pointless sex with hoes? Because it's an equal waste of time and energy. As men, our biggest weakness is lust, and women. Even the most successful, disciplined men, they still fall to lust in women, and this is something that we can all relate to. If you can rise above that, then that's a true conquest. We should try our best to do what makes us good men. Don't waste time chasing hoes and pointless sex with them. And this doesn't mean you have to wait till marriage if you don't believe in that. I'm not even saying don't sleep with girls you're not in a relationship with. Like, if you vibe with a girl and you guys have a good night and you guys really like each other and you guys have sex, then it is what it is, do you. But again, I'm more so talking about hooking up with random hoes that you know you don't care about, or vice versa. There's gotta be a line somewhere, and we should all start drawing it. As of now, how I try to develop my philosophy is, I imagine and I have a pretty good idea of what I want my future wife to be. How she looks, what kind of person she is. I imagine her and I think about her, and I try to build myself up to be worthy of her. Which is in alignment with my ultimate goal in life, which is to be the best version of myself I can possibly be. Is hooking up with random chicks that I don't care about really going to bring me closer towards her? The answer is no. Maybe sharpening my blades in terms of charisma, conversation skills, courting a girl and being in a masculine frame, then yeah. But just hitting up some random girl and hooking up with them and having casual sex and then sending them on their way, both knowing that you'll probably never see each other again? Like, I don't know, what does that do? What does that accomplish? A sense of validation and ego for sure, but nothing else really. And I know the argument that it's in our biology to want to reproduce, but that doesn't mean you're supposed to do it with every other chick you see. We're supposed to fight our urges. Just because you want to do something doesn't mean you should go and do it. Just because you're hungry doesn't mean you're supposed to immediately stuff your face with the refrigerator. And just because you're tired doesn't mean you're supposed to immediately go to sleep and take a nap. Like, we're supposed to fight it to become better. Now, like I said, regardless of everything I just said, it's gonna get worse. I understand that some guys are just gonna want to have sex, especially if the layup is there, like the hookup story that I just shared. But I still believe that we should all draw a line somewhere. You don't have to be conservative or even have traditional values. Even if, let's say, you don't see hookup culture as a bad thing, just draw a line somewhere, like have a boundary. Like, okay, I can hook up with this girl, but the fact that she just hooked up with the dude 2 nights ago is nasty. Like, okay, you meet a dope girl and you guys vibe and you're not looking for a long-term relationship. There's still a difference between that and just hooking up with a random girl and tossing them to the side and never see or talk to that person ever again. Yo, this video has been going on for way too long. I know all the goldfishes have clicked off by now of me yapping, so I guess I'll leave it off with this. I don't care who you are, every single person is searching for real love in some way, shape, or form. There's not a single person who took this ideology of getting ran through their entire young adult life and came out of that happy. Especially to girls, because I see it flipping, which is why I shared my story. Because at one point you're gonna turn 30, and you're gonna turn 40, and you're gonna turn 50, and that shit's a ticking time bomb. And you're gonna end up sad, lonely, and depressed. You're gonna be that weird aunt trying to play with your other family's kids because you don't got none. And to all the people thinking, I don't really want kids, I want to travel, I want to be a boss, I want to make money, I want to be a millionaire, I want to be a homeowner and take Instagram pictures in Dubai or Greece or Japan or whatever. Listen, when you're 50, the fact that you can afford a few extra Gucci handbags in a high ceiling home isn't going to change the fact that at the end of the night, you're still by yourself. And all your Louis Vuitton bags aren't going to make you feel any less sad or lonely. Because when we're all on our deathbed, what you're thinking about isn't going to be how nice the house you were living in was, or the overpriced handbags that you wear at every single family reunion. You're gonna be thinking about the people you spent your time with. You're gonna be thinking about your friends and family. And that's as real as it gets. And all this shit is propagated by the system. All these dumb 304 celebrities brainwashing you with degenerate music, teaching you to twerk in clubs and do drugs and all this nonsense. I don't care who you are, what your goals or aspirations in life are. You want someone special to love you at the end of the day. When you can have your worst day ever and unwind at night, you want someone there that makes you feel at home. And this goes for every single person. Man, I spit so much facts, I might as well be a fax machine. Anyways, I'm having fun at this point. I'll leave it at that. Anyways, make sure you guys stay true. Talk to you guys real soon. Peace.